why you have trouble getting right and the things I'm telling you. Okay, we get ready to get started, but we could talk with, yeah, watch now. Hello, YouTubers. We're getting ready to get started now. It is crazy. The American Gangster. You don't remember when Denzel played the gangster role? Well, you knew the Saints was talking trash about it. So, guys, we get ready to get started. All right, all right. It is 12:36, 12:36, and you are listening to Heart Connections. I love this song, y'all. If any of you wanted to know, sometimes I just take a little minute to just let this instrumental play. This comes from the Erykah Badu song Back in the Day. I just love this beat, man. I could just listen to this all day long. Anyways, we're not going to listen to it all day long because it is time for Heart Talk. This is the talk portion of the show. This is the meat of our show. The rest of the sides, the trimmings. This is the entree. Every hour at half on the hour, it's time for Heart Talk. Today's segment of Heart Talk, this segment is brought to you by my new book, Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. And you can pre-order your copy of Help Save Me from My Broken Heart at theheartconnections.com. Also, if you are on YouTube or Periscope, you can catch me live. You can see how I look, check out the studio and all of that good stuff. You can find me on Periscope at The Heart Connections and YouTube at The Heart Connections, or you can type in bit.ly/Heart Connections and catch me there. Let's get to it. It's Make It Happen Monday. We're talking imagination today. Imagination. I don't think that enough emphasis is put on the importance of our mental picture, the concepts that we come up with in our minds, and how much we hold those images in our minds. So we've talked about imagination. We've talked about the motive for imagination. And now I want to talk a little bit about, okay, we've gotten clear on that thing. We understand the imagination, and imagination is to form a mental image or concept of something, to suppose or assume. It comes from the Latin word imagio, which means image, or imaginary, which means picture to oneself. Think about that. Imaginaire, form an image of, to represent. That's the imagination. And we talked about motives. Motives, a motive is a reason for doing something, especially one that is hidden or not obvious. What's your motive for the concepts that you create in your mind? And it says, especially one that is hidden. See, this is the thing with a lot of young people we see. I think this is my opinion, because this is what was going on with me. My motive, which was I was very insecure and I was hurting as a teenager. And because of that, I had a really bad attitude and I was very stubborn. And I know you're like, well, that sounds like every teenager. And that may be, but they have different reasons for it. So what I did was I acted out. Like I said, I had a bad attitude. I ended up getting pregnant at a young age and all of that. And it came because the concept that I had in my mind was being driven by a reason that was hidden. So I was looking for love in my little boyfriend at that time. And I had this attitude because I felt like he was the only one that was really caring and was obligated to care because he was my boyfriend. And I knew I had other people around me who loved me and care about me. But the type of love that he gave me, I wanted. I wanted somebody to love me and want to be around me and make me feel like, they cared about me. And I always looked at it like random people don't have to do it. But what about the people that are supposed to do it? And I wanted that. And because of it, I got caught up because I'd say that, I just wanted to be in this relationship with him. But really, my motive for being so serious in a relationship at such a young age, which was not healthy, and parents, really need to rethink allowing our children to have these serious relationships at a young age. Nothing wrong with dating, having boyfriend or girlfriends, but I'm talking about getting serious. My motive was hidden. My daddy wasn't there. And I wanted him to love me like my man. And I also wanted him to fill that void of my father. And he could not do that. He was a kid himself who was broken and going through his own thing. And I feel like many of us have to get to a space where we're willing to think higher. Okay, so you know the concepts you have in your mind are negative. Your imagination isn't a good imagination. Your imagination is, oh my God. If you're one of those people who always think about how something can go wrong first, that's where your imagination is right now. And you need to train it and you need to change it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Repetition. Repetition. I was just talking to LJ about this in the studio. My life changed when I stopped watching TV. And I know some people don't like it, and I don't care. My life changed when I stopped watching TV because I started to train my mind. TV was comforting. It was like eating junk food. It tastes good while you're eating it, but afterwards you feel bad about it and you're still empty and hungry and you need more to eat. And for me, I needed to be fed. I did not want to watch drama from other people. I did not want to constantly be bombarded with that negativity. Because see, when you start to tap more into your imagination and get more in tune to your relationship with God, I'm telling you, you're not going to have room for a lot of foolishness. And I'm not saying you watching TV is foolishness all the time, but a lot of the time, most of the time, it is foolishness. Why do you need to know about somebody else's drama that's going on in their lives? Like, why do you need to wake up and that be the first notification on your phone or something of that nature? That is what drives your imagination. If all you watch is the ID channel, then you may start to think that your husband or wife is trying to kill you. And if all you watch is Young and the Restless, now all of a sudden when the man is coming to cut your grass, now he's starting to look handsome and you want to invite him in and you getting caught up and you don't even understand what's going on. Don't laugh at me, LJ, because I'm serious. What are you imagining? And I know y'all like, why are you doing this? I'm serious. Like, why? Why are we? There's nothing wrong with watching cooking shows and all of that stuff. That stuff is fine, but it all has its place. How much time and energy are you putting into building up your spirit and your soul? How much personal, emotional, mental, spiritual development and physical development are you doing? How much workout did you do this morning? How long did you work out? Did you work out at all? How much water did you drink today, this thus far? And I'm convicted by that because I'm only one bottle down. I need a couple. We should drink half of our body weight in ounces a day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should drink 100 ounces of water every day. Just that simple. 150, 75 ounces of water every day. But we have to get to a place where we are willing to change and train our imagination. We're going to have to be willing to think on a higher level, have to be willing to believe on a higher level. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have to let some stuff out to make room for something better. I've used this analogy and I will continue to use it. If I came to you and, well, I'm going to do this one day. Heart Connections is giving away a furniture set. We'll be giving away a furniture set, but you have a house full of furniture. You could use a new set. You actually prayed and asked God for a new set. Your couch is falling apart. Everything else is fine. You have a couch, but it's falling apart. So now I show up with the new furniture set because I promise you, if you watch the show, I'm going to give you, you won this furniture set. Now we show up at your house and we're ready to give you the furniture set, but you have your old set sitting there. And I've given you this furniture, but there's no room in your home to receive it. You're going to have to let go of the old broken couch so that you can make room for the new couch that you wanted, you prayed and asked for. And now it's time for you to let that couch out. And now you're like, I had this couch forever. This was the first couch I got when I moved. And I nursed my babies on this couch. And my granddaddy used to sit on this couch. And this happened on this couch. And if you're trying to get this new furniture in your life, you're going to have to let go of that old. Are y'all following me? If you want to exist in a new existence in your life, if you want to get different responses from life, the people around you, the circumstances that you find yourself in, you're going to have to be willing to relinquish and let go of your old way of thinking, your old way of being, the old concepts you had in your mind. I've had countless conversations with women about marriage and men and relationships. And we started talking about these men and how they get on our nerves and they drive us crazy and all of this stuff. But I always have to go back and ask them, what did you see modeled from the women in your life when you were growing up? And many of us saw very strong will, strong women who had to hold it together and keep it together to keep it going. And I respect them and I love them and I herald them for it. The problem is that has to be contained and controlled when you start talking about getting into a healthy marriage and making a healthy relationship work. And the marriage does not have room, a God ordained marriage does not have room for two men or two women. So you have to understand that when you get in this, because you've been so strong and independent as a woman, you have to understand that you're not the man. You are no longer the one that's supposed to be taking the lead like that unless this is what you and your husband decide upon. It's just like the president of the United States. There's a president and there's a vice president. These positions, it really doesn't matter who's in the position. These are the positions. That's how marriage is. But many of us have not been taught that. We have not seen that. And I mean, the same thing goes for parenting. The same thing goes for how to interact in the workplace. The same thing goes for every other area in life. But we have to be willing to relinquish. We live in a very racist and racially driven society. There's a lot of prejudice and racism going on. And we have to be willing to let go of some of those old ways of being. Those with privilege are going to have to be willing to let go of some of that privilege for breakthrough to happen. Those of us who have been on guard and defensive because of the attacks and things that have happened are going to have to be vulnerable again. We're going to have to imagine new things. We're going to have to see new things. And we're going to have to be willing to put ourselves out there. That's that vulnerability again. That's what Jesus did for us. And we have to be willing to do that. And that's difficult. It's simple, but it's not easy. And that's why I say it's difficult because what it is I'm asking you to go higher. I'm asking you to think different. I'm asking you to do differently. And you can. And you want it. But you just have to know that you have what's required to do it. But nobody prepares us for how difficult it is. It's hard to let go. You know why? Because so much of our identity is tied into the old. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in the last segment at 1:30. So do me a favor. If this has been blessing you, let your friends and family and coworkers know to tune in because we're going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to go higher, but we have to talk about this new identity we embrace when we start to reach for the stars and reach for the sky. Let's go higher with Legacy right here on Heart Connections, ConnecticutFi.com. All right, all right. Thank you guys for tuning in. And those of you who are tuning in on the replay, this is Adelai Brown, your heart coach on your community station with international inspiration, ConnecticutFi.com, where this is Make It Happen Monday, and we are talking imagination. And we just had our third segment, and we will be rounding out the show in about an hour. Man, time flies when you're having fun. So I encourage us and the passion that God created you to exist in. I have a great day. I'll be back.